Hey everyone, I know I said I was going to do a big NAB wrap up as soon as I got back to town, but things got busy between actual work at TPC and the stuff I've been trying to finish up on my computer to make room for the projects I really want to work on. And then on top of all of that, my girlfriend and I are puppy sitting this adorable little creature. So with that, let's get started. First, let's get started with NAB. So, as I mentioned in my previous vlog, I was out there primarily to take classes with Post-Production World, which is this great set of sessions with speakers from all kinds of different fields. You've got the option to take classes on so many different things, and basically I just loaded up my schedule with classes on things that I had very little knowledge in. So I took a class about DaVinci Resolve. You know, I'm really excited about what you can do with DaVinci Resolve because, I mean, just node-based color correction changes the way you think about layering and the amount of control you have over things. I mean, it's an awesome piece of software, and I can't wait to really dig into it and start using it on my own projects, especially as I upgrade my own stuff to 4K. Not the vlog, but, you know, the better stuff. I also took a pile of classes on VR production. I'm really excited about the options in that storytelling space. It's really, and it's just, overall, it's really exciting because the filmic language, you know, I mean, for traditional filmmaking and videography, we've got a language, a visual language that has been, you know, basically the same for the last 100 years or so. And the thing that's really exciting about VR, I mean, on top of all of the opportunities for immersion, is everybody that's really playing in VR is writing that language as we speak. It's a completely different set of tools, you know, so the language is different, the editing's different, the way you shoot, the way you light. I mean, everything is different. I mean, do you do a bunch of short scenes? Do you longer scenes? People are trying all kinds of different things. The amount of space for experimentation is just, I mean, it's really cool. I also took a session on, a full day session on color correction and color grading, and that was great because it gave me all kinds of insight that I just didn't have. You know, that was a set of knowledge that I never picked up in school, and I've just kind of been, I mean, I felt like I knew a fair amount about it when I went out there, but after taking that session, I realized that what I've been doing on most of my work is, you know, amounts to a little more than dabbling. So, you know, I'm really excited to dig into that a little bit more, and of course, all of them are using DaVinci, which is part of why I wanted to learn DaVinci. Not that I'm ever going to be a colorist by trade, but it's good to be able to do my own projects as I work on these smaller things on my own. So by the time I got through all those sessions, I only had most of Wednesday and all of Thursday. But if you've ever been to NAB, you know that Thursday's only a half day. So I really only basically had a day and a half on the show floor to look at just the overwhelming amount of new gear. I mean, really, if you've never been to NAB, if you are in film and video, make a point of going 1 year. If you're, you know, if you are involved in production, it is worth going out to Vegas. You can get hotel rooms really cheap. I mean, I spent a little bit more for where I was staying, but the, you know, I saw places as cheap as $80 a night for the majority of the week. You know, I mean, just make a point of going out there, even if you just do the show floor, or even if you just do sessions, you know, and there's free sessions, there's keynote speeches, and there's just so much to learn. Aside from the networking opportunities and the parties and the fact that it's Vegas, it's worth going out there. It's just amazing. So, you know, a couple of things that I saw while I was out there that really stood out to me. First of all, Blackmagic is such a mega sponsor, but they also have a mega booth. You walk into the South Hall, and there's just this massive Blackmagic booth where they've got DaVinci, and they've got their cameras, and they've got their switchers, and they've got, and it's just, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Of course, I stopped at the Blackmagic booth because you can't not. I mean, it's, even if you don't use a lot of their gear, it's worth seeing what they're doing. I finally got a chance to put my hands on their cameras. Last year when I went there, the cameras were just swamped with people. I couldn't actually get over there to check, to play with them and see what I thought. I got to put my hands on Micro Studio Camera 4K, which is, you know, hardly bigger than a GoPro, with an MFT lens mount, but it looks pretty good. You know, it'd be, and I could see it having a pile of uses, you know, whether it's webcasting or a cutaway camera in a studio at a weird angle, or if you need a multi-cam shoot in tight quarters. I mean, there's all kinds of options because it's an itty-bitty camera. And of course, you can control everything except for pan and tilt through the switcher software. So, that's pretty cool. I also got to play with the full-size studio camera, which they've had around for years now, but I hadn't actually gotten a chance to put hands on it. And I can see what people like about it. I can also see what some people don't like about it. And I'd love to get one of them in the studio at TPC and put it side by side with the EX3 or even one of the F3s and see how it would intercut in that environment. Blackmagic also had this new switcher panel, and it was basically, if you took the ATEM switcher, which if you're not familiar with it is hardware-wise a single rack unit tall, that wide, costs about $1,000, completely software controlled, and you've got a full 6-camera switcher with all kinds of with a downstream keyer. I mean, it's great. That aside, the ATEM switcher that I saw is a full switcher panel. It's got a hardware panel and all the plugs on the back of it, so you just plug your camera and everything right into it. And it's a single standalone panel. There's no extra rack system or anything else, so you just take it out of the box, set it on the table, plug your cameras in, boom, there's your switcher. It's pretty cool. And it had a lot of really neat features like being able to control zoom and focus of a remote camera. Of course, it has to be a Blackmagic camera because of the way the information's coded. Anyway, moving on from Blackmagic, I also looked at a bunch of 360 video / VR stuff while I was out there. And, of course, there was the powerhouses, and I saw a couple of jaunt cameras floating around on different rigs, which is just, that's a mind-blowing camera. It's awesome. I saw Nokia's rig, which they had out there last year also. And it's becoming a pretty heavy hitter in that space. And I saw a bunch of VR rigs that were just a bunch of traditional cameras positioned in a way to get that 360 field of view. Blackmagic had one at their booth that they'd stuck together a bunch of their micro cinema cameras or studio cameras. I'm not sure which it was. Canon had one at their booth, which I think was a bunch of C300s. But the thing I stumbled across that was really cool was this other company that I hadn't heard of before called Insta360. And they had a rig that basically was about this big, gave you full stereoscopic 360 video, has an ambisonic microphone in it so it's recording in proper 360, has internal stabilization, will do live stitching out an HDMI port. They've got their own software for it, or you can use someone else's software. It can live stream straight from the camera over Wi-Fi, or you can plug an Ethernet port into an Ethernet cable into the camera directly. And it's just, overall, it's amazing, and it's about a third of the price of its closest competitor, as far as I could tell. I got them to send me some demo footage of it because it's too good to be true. You've got this almost perfect. It's decent in low light. I mean, there's this almost perfect entry level high-end 360 rig, and they only want $3,500 for it. One of the other things I saw a lot of out there is a pile of VR audio microphones, ambisonic microphones, which is basically recording in full 360. And, I guess it's 4-channel, 5-channel. I don't know how many channels of audio that ends up being, or if it's just a single 2-channel mix that somehow, I guess it would have to at least be 4 channels. Anyway, I saw a bunch of microphones out there for recording VR, and of course other support gear, and there's this really neat light that goes under the camera on top of the tripod. And I could go on and on about this. I've basically been blogging about NAB in little bite-sized chunks on my Instagram account. So head over to my Instagram account, you can read about all this stuff I'm talking about, because I'm just going through it really fast. So I also stopped by GoPro's booth while I was out there, and one of those other really neat things about NAB is, on top of all the other stuff I was talking about, you have giveaways and discounts, and so many booths did giveaways. I didn't win anything, I entered a lot of them, but, that's its own issue. However, by going to GoPro's booth and doing their thing, I did get a 25% discount on a new GoPro. So I now have a Hero 5 Black. So I'm excited I haven't actually shot anything with it yet, but I'm excited to start playing with it. And I'm going to try and get something up in the next week or two that I've shot on it. Maybe a time lapse or or some actual video. We'll see. I still haven't gotten the dog harness for the GoPros yet. That would be cool. Anyway, I also stopped by Atomos's booth, talked to them. Pretty much decided that I'm going to end up buying myself the the Shogun Inferno to future-proof my rig. It's a pretty solid-looking piece of gear, and it'll not only give me my 4K recording on my A7S for less than the cost of an A7S II, but it'll also give me a lot of higher-end options on, as far as, if I'm shooting something where I'm renting a bigger camera, or if I buy a bigger camera at some point, just there's a lot of options on the table there for that. So that's exciting. Anyway, so I also stopped by Syrup's booth. They make this the great little Genie Mini motion control rig that I've started playing with, but they've also got bigger systems, and they had a new version of the full-size Genie system, which just looked amazing, and it runs quieter than the other one. It's got a full pan tilt head on it, and the list just goes on and on, but it was just a beautiful piece of gear, and it looks like it'll be able to support a bigger camera than their other systems. And if I needed a slider, if I needed a slider with motion control, I'm probably gonna, I would suggest them. And that it's just a really solid gear, and with their cable rig, it can, you can basically make something that just goes for 100 meters for time lapse stuff. It's just crazy, really cool, crazy stuff. And then, of course, another, the other thing I saw out there was a lot of these little handheld gimbals, similar to the Ronin. Of course, I saw the Ronin 2, which is just massive, but it's for big cameras. But I saw a bunch of ones for smaller cameras, so off the side, DSLRs, A7Ss, 7Ds, etc., where the weight capacity is not great on them, but they're doing really interesting things like not blocking the screen on the back of the camera, or adding a fourth axis of stabilization, which it looks like it's just like another T-bar with a spring on it. Like it's like if the Ronin's crossbar could flex. I don't know how it works. It looks cool. I couldn't actually. I picked them up, and just playing with it on the show floor, it felt like it would make the footage less stable at the end of the day. And nobody could actually tell me exactly how it works to make the footage more stable. It feels like it would just make your camera bounce. I don't know. If anyone watching this has actually used one of those fourth axis stabilizers on a 3-axis gimbal, please shoot me a message. Let me know how well it works. Show me some footage. Let me see how well that works, because it just doesn't feel like it should work. It feels like it takes the concept, I guess, that extra stabilization that you get from like a Steadicam arm, but puts it into a handheld rig. I don't understand how it works. I'd love to. So, again, I've got some more stuff I'm going to post about NAB on my Instagram. Not much, but a little bit more. But again, check out my Instagram if you want to see, in more detail, a lot of the stuff I saw out there. It was, and there's just so much there. I could go on for hours. And, maybe when I finally get a website up, I'll add a blog to it. And next year's NAB, I'll actually blog, do a written out blog or something. I don't know. Moving on from NAB, I've also been working on the apparently never-ending project that is finishing up the little side projects that I told people I'd do for them that have just been clogging up hard drive space. So, because I know if I archive them, I'll never go back to them. That's just the problem. You go through the process of archiving 250 gigabytes of video to Blu-ray. Someone better pay you to put it back, or you'll just never finish it. And that's just how it is. So I've been leaving these things on my hard drive so that I do go back to them. And I've finally finished up my full edit of Tempest, and cut out some scenes that we're going to post to YouTube. So the full show of Tempest and its smaller scenes will be posted to Clear Creek Community Theater's YouTube channel. We'll try and start posting those in the next couple of days. I'm going to upload everything tomorrow, and then we'll push them out from there. And then, of course, I mentioned this about a month ago, I finished up the scenes for that I shot of Hamlet, the really nice cinematic quality scenes that I shot of Robert's production of Hamlet back in 2015, and those are finally up on YouTube. Those have been released, and I'll put links to them in the description, and you can also head over to Clear Creek Community Theater's YouTube channel to check those out. The other thing I did recently was the other day I actually had time to shoot this vlog, and I decided I just didn't feel like it. It was May the 4th. I decided my time would be better spent making a silly Star Wars short. So I took this little remote control BB8, out into the backyard, and I shot a short silent film. It's up on my YouTube channel, and you can check it out. I'll tag the link there. It'll be up in the cards. You can watch it. It's fun. It's only a minute. It's a goofy little story of this tiny BB8 going outside. But it was fun to do, and it was really fun to get back into creative stuff, like really creative stuff, as opposed to promotional creative. It's a different mindset. So I'm really excited to finish up these other projects that I've had sitting on my computer. Yeah, and I've got this music stuff that I shot for Overtone, and I'm going to get that done first. But then I've got The Getaway that hasn't been edited, and another short written that we shot called They Follow. And then I've got just a pile of scripts, and I've been writing new scripts also, of course, because why stop writing just because you're not shooting anything? So it's been fun. It's been kind of, I've been busy. So I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you for watching. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Tom A. Meek on both of those platforms. You'll probably see more up-to-date updates on my projects and what I'm working on posted there, because even though I was really going to try to do one of these every couple of weeks, I'm apparently really bad at that. I'll try and get better, bear with me. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope to have more fun and interesting videos to show you guys as I get back into creating my own stuff now that I'm finished with some of the bigger projects I had sitting on those hard drives. So yeah, thank you for watching.